I quit drinking December 1st, 2018. I gave birth to McKenna, my biological daughter, December 29th, 2019. So a little over a year later. Being a mom who doesn't drink, it can be tough navigating the pressures of mommy wine culture, especially when you have an addictive personality like I do. But let's talk about this today and how you can get through momming without having to rely on alcohol. Grab a cup of coffee and let's dive right in. Hi, I'm Jenna Dix, and I'm always rambling. Just ask my husband. I have a great family and a pretty cool life, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. That's hard to say, but my goal is to inspire and educate to help others hopefully find life beyond an addiction. I'm all things: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Getting healthy, momming, and politics. Get offended easily? You better stop listening. There is no point in wasting that Botox by stressing yourself out listening to a podcast. Welcome to Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Today's episode is brought to you by products and services that I am thoroughly addicted to and cannot live without. And I am totally addicted to a home that smells beautiful. I need to introduce you to Michelle Beadles, independent consultant with Scentsy, the brand that brings warmth, comfort, and joy to your life with their beautiful fragrance products. Whether you're looking for a cozy scent for your home, a soothing aroma for your workspace, or a thoughtful gift for a loved one, Scentsy has you covered. Their selection of wax warmers, diffusers, and fragrant products will transport you to a happy place, all while keeping your space smelling fresh and inviting. Try Scentsy today and experience the magic of their scents. Check the show notes to place your order with Michelle today. Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for popping in and listening to today's episode. So first off, my voice is almost back. We're at like 95%. Last episode, so episode 7, you probably could tell I was starting to get sick, and now I haven't recorded for a few days because your girl here sounded like a full-out man. I don't know what was going on. It was like the weirdest cold/cough thing, but I am on the up and up. I'm trending towards being healthy, which is definitely exciting. And that also means I get to record today's podcast, which I've been really excited to do because today's topic is one that I feel, even if you're not somebody that's full out sober from alcohol, this is a topic that is near and dear to a lot of moms in different ways. So I honestly don't know exactly when mommy wine culture became a thing. So I did a little research, and it said on the internet that the 2010s-ish time was when mommy wine culture really began to trend. And probably because social media, right? Like think about all the hashtags. You know, mommy wine time and mom needs wine, things of all that nature. But I'm sure to a point, mommy wine culture or mama needs a drink has been a thing for a long, long time, right? And I have to admit, when the mommy wine culture thing did start to trend and social media hashtags and things of that sort were really starting to gain popularity, it was kind of cute. It was kind of a cool little niche-y thing. You know, they had really cute shirts and wine glasses and koozies. They had a lot of really fun quotes. I remember on social media seeing some of those postings, and they were just smile-worthy. And to a point, even before I was a bio mom, I partook. I had a lot of friends who were already moms, and they were, you know, totally diving into that culture. And why not be a buddy right alongside with them. I'll partake in mommy wine culture and have a glass or two of wine, or 3 or 4, who knows. As they sat and kind of melted out and just went a little more zen after a full day of momming. And here's the deal. When I did go sober, it wasn't in my mind space, the whole mom aspect of it. Like, oh, I'm going to be a sober mom. I didn't really look at it that way because I was a bonus mom at that point. Not legally, but I mean, by that point, Mike and I had been together, oh goodness, like almost 5 years. So we'd been together for quite a while. And Haley, obviously, right alongside of him the whole time. But I wasn't a bio mom, and that wasn't in the plans when I went sober at that point. I knew eventually, someday, but I wasn't quite sure when. But when it did happen, I remember the first time it kind of clicked. I was at one of the parenting classes with Mike, and they were talking about the do's and don'ts of drinking and nursing. And it clicked that moment. Oh, I won't really even have to ever think about that. And I took a breath. I remember, I took a minute. I'm like, I don't know exactly how I feel about that. Because you hear, and you still see all over social media, that's how moms zen out. That's how they find their peace, right? And it clicked, I won't have that. Okay, I'm going to have a whole nother thing to kind of navigate and try to figure out my calm without having it be a glass of red wine. So some of the struggles that, myself definitely has faced, but I can see in other moms who either A, are completely alcohol free, or B, they're trying to cut back. They're trying not to partake in that mommy wine culture to the depths that either they have in the past or that you see other people doing. And one of the first struggle points that a lot of people have is FOMO, right? You fear they're going to miss out on events with their girlfriends, or they're not going to get the invite because, this is all about the drinking, and why would we invite Jenna, or why would we invite so-and-so if they're not going to drink wine with us? So there's definitely that fear of, oh, am I going to just be left out? But there's also fear, like I mentioned a moment ago, dude, how am I going to zen out if I don't get to partake in this mommy wine culture? Which we'll get into that in just a minute. Let me tell you, there are ways, plenty of ways. But another struggle with this, and this goes beyond just the mommy wine culture. This is a fear that so many people have when they've decided, I'm not going to drink. It's that awkward offer moment where you're sitting there and somebody offers you a cocktail or a glass of wine and you're not quite sure how to respond, and it just kind of leaves everything up in the air and very awkward, right? So a couple things with this is, if you're going into a setting where you know alcohol is going to be there, and you are comfortable with either A, the host, or other people that will be there kind of in charge, let them know in advance. Like, hey, and I won't be drinking tonight, just FYI. If you need to, do an announcement type of thing to make sure that people that are going to be in your circle are aware, so that you don't have the awkward asks. Because one thing can happen too, where if you pass on it, let's say you go to an event on Tuesday, your girlfriends are like, hey, do you want a glass of wine? No, I just don't want one today. Okay. Well, if you didn't address it further than that, it's going to keep coming, right? They're going to keep offering. Which, if you're ready for that and you can handle that, cool. Everybody has their own style, right? For me personally, I needed to boldly announce because I knew I would not want to be dealing with that awkward ask time and time and time again. So when I decided I am going sober. I invited all of my closest peeps over to my house. Actually, so I went sober December 1st. My birthday is December 10th. So 9 days later, I invited all of my closest friends and a couple family members over, and everybody's sitting in the living room, and I should probably ask them what they really thought I was going to say. I never really have. They probably thought I was going to say pregnant or getting married or something, but nope. I come out with, FYI, I am sober. I am not drinking anymore. Some of them already knew, but the majority of them didn't. So it was actually a really nice way to, number one, build my support tribe, but number two, just kind of get the awkward ask out of the way. No one's going to ask me now because all my closest peeps now knew. So obviously there are plenty more struggles. These are two that, at least for me, were huge. Let's dive into some tips though, and some good reminders, some things to keep in mind if you are at a point where either, like I said, A, I'm not drinking at all, or B, how do I navigate mommy wine culture a little bit better? How do I not dive in so deep? Okay. So some thoughts to leave you with. 1, remember that you are showing your kids a good example. And for moms, this is something that I preach in every regard. You know, when I'm talking to one of my health coaching clients, I'm like, and they're like, I can't work out. Why? Well, what about my kids? Why do you not want them to see you working out? Like, show them that good example. Show them, hey, I honor my health. Keep it in the back of your mind too. If they see mom not drinking, that's showing a solid example, right? It's showing, hey, I can get through and not have to have booze. You know, mom can sit and have a LaCroix or a seltzer or something of that sort. Seltzer water, obviously, you know. For me, this one held so much weight. You know, if you've listened to my sobriety story, which was a few episodes back, it talked about how the whole trophy piece of my rock bottom story, right? It impacted my child. I don't want my booze intake to impact my kids. So for me, this one is heavy on my heart now in a good way. Like, nope, I'm not going to drink because I want to be that good example for my girls. And I know, at least for me as a person, when I drink, I'm not a great example. Period, plain and simple. Some people out there, if you can be, great. But I mean, let's all face the fact that typically when we're drinking, we are not our best selves in some way, shape, or form. So the second thing is you want to try to find coping strategies. These are the things that are going to help you, especially with those struggle points, right? Like the FOMO piece. Or if you're just sitting there and you're like, oh my word, if I don't get a glass of wine, I'm going to explode. I am so stressed. I am so anxious. Name that feeling that you're having, right? You need to find other ways to cope with these feelings that are healthier. Whether that be, oh shit, mom's got to go take a bath before she explodes. Or, hey, you know what? I had these kids all flipping day. They're driving me up a wall. Obviously not saying this in front of them, but I'm going to go get a pedicure. Or I'm going to go sit at my girlfriend's house and watch dumb TV. Find coping strategies that are going to work for you that don't necessarily involve, I'm going to pop that bottle and down 4 glasses of wine. 3, create a community of support. Like I said, when I announced my sobriety, I started creating that network. You know, I'd already been tapping away at it because I'd involved a counselor. I'd let all of my best friends know and my parents know in advance. My spouse, you know, my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, but he knew. But make sure that you create that community of support. Have friends in your circle that know what you're up to and are rooting you on and have your back. Get family involved when and if appropriate. maybe a pastor or a spiritual leader. If you need to, counselors or rehab. But start creating that tribe that's going to have your back, right? Create your own new hashtag of sorts, I don't know, mom tribe or something. I'm not super creative in that regard. Number 4, mocktails or coffee flights, right? Find non-alcoholic alternatives. I've heard from some people that mocktails are not their thing. It actually kind of messes them up more mentally. Okay, that's their way, right? That's totally cool. I'm a mocktail girl. Like, I love going out. Like, I can go to a bar with friends as they're all having a good time and order a mocktail, and I'm totally cool with that. I would say that took about a year to feel completely okay with it. But now, like, I love a good mocktail. I know my style. It's got to be either like kind of, savory or spicy. I'm not like a tutti frutti type, but I wasn't a tutti frutti cocktail type either. So it makes sense. But they have so many mocktail options nowadays. I was just at the local grocery store, Kowalski's, and they have, non-alcoholic spirits. So they are supposed to kind of taste more alcoholic-y, but they're supposed to have that flavor. And a lot of times if you go to a bar, if they don't have a mocktail menu, which more restaurants and bars are starting to get, but if they don't, ask the bartender. I've done that so many times now where I'm like, hey, can you make me a good mocktail? Yeah. What do you want it to taste like? And you tell them and they try. And some turn out good, some not so well. But, it's worth a shot. And it makes you feel like, hey, I can enjoy this. Or, like I said, too, coffee flights. One of our things, we used to go out and hit breweries and do flights. And then, we'd have a beer and just sit and chat. We have found some of the local coffee places here have coffee flights, which I'm a coffee fiend. I'd rather drink coffee over beer, even back in the day. Like, I like the flavor of coffee better than beer. So I think for me, this is a win-win. And if you are a coffee person, like, do some research. I guarantee you there are plenty of local places that have these because these are starting to be more of a trend. Tip number 5. Make sure you create a list of activities that do not revolve around alcohol. Honestly, this may seem silly, but for those of you who are starting on this venture, this is an important step because, to be honest, we had to sit down and literally Google this shit because when I first stopped drinking, Mike and I were like, well, what the fuck do people do? Like, we just go to the bar. Like, oh, we have a little bit of extra time. Let's go grab a happy hour app and a couple cocktails. Like, that was our thing, always. Going out to eat and getting drinks. So we literally created a list of activities and posted it inside our pantry door. Now, we can find those activities a little bit more naturally. But for those of you who are just starting, I highly encourage making yourself a list because especially if you're in a rough moment, trying to be creative and come up with one is not always super easy. Number 6, find a group of moms that doesn't drink consistently and has similar values. I can tell you if I had some of the same people in my tribe now that I've had in past tribes of mine, this would be a hell of a lot harder. I have made sure I've aligned myself with moms who, I'm trying to think, I don't think I have any moms that are full out sober in my tribe. If I forgot you, I apologize. But I don't think I do. But they don't sit and get wasted and sit and bitch about their kids and drink a crap ton of wine. I can guarantee you most of the moms in my tribe probably have had that once in a while where they've overdone it. Oh yeah, absolutely. But not consistently. And they have values very in line with mine. And I can sit with them if they sit and have a glass or two of wine because they're doing it just to actually enjoy the wine or enjoy that moment. They're not doing that to stifle how they're feeling. My next tip is focusing on the positives of not drinking. I have talked with so many health coaching clients who get so wrapped up in, I'm not losing weight. And I will sit with them and tell them, okay, let's look at all the other victories you're having, right? You're sleeping better. Your clothes are fitting better. You have more energy, things like that, right? Focusing on every single victory helps us kind of pull back and be like, okay, well, shoot, what I'm doing is pretty good. Okay, cool. Sometimes with not drinking, I've had to do that. Like, okay, yes, I'm not able to sit and have this cocktail to mush myself out right now or mute how I'm feeling. Think about all the other wins that are coming because I'm not doing that though. So things like, we have saved a crap ton of money. I stopped recording it even, but when I first stopped drinking, I had an app that was tracking how much money we were roughly saving by me not drinking. It was a lot, let me tell you. Number 2, no hangovers. And, I shared in a recent podcast how bad my hangovers had gotten. Hey, I have not wound up in the ER because of a hangover in the last almost 5 years now. So that's a huge win. And I'm not throwing my face up all the time because, your girl here, she was a puker and it was not pleasant. I sleep better. Honestly, when I drank, I rarely, if ever, slept well that evening. It was always like the shittiest sleep. I woke up feeling so nasty. I don't have that anymore. And I love that. I have not missed a night of washing my face. I used to wake up all the time, smeared makeup all over, and it's just like a grimy, gross feeling, right? If you've ever been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't have that anymore. I have washed and moisturized and taken care of my skin every single night for the past 4.5 years. Amazing feeling. I've also had less fights in my life. I was an arguer, or sometimes, a little more aggressive. Don't get me wrong, my personality, you probably can tell, I'm kind of bold. I speak my mind. So yeah, I've had plenty of verbal altercations, but not to the point where I was having them and I can control myself better. And like I said, bringing it back to that first tip. In my eyes, I'm a better mom example for my girls. I'm showing them, yeah, there's going to be hard days. There's days I am driven up a wall. But I do not need some magical liquid to help me cope with it. It is important for alcohol-free moms to remember that this was a decision to abstain from alcohol to create a more positive life. And there are so many other moms out there who share similar values and similar beliefs. So make sure that you are seeking support from your friends and from your family, getting yourself into those tribes or those support groups that you need to make sure if you are trying to either A, cut down, or B, completely give up alcohol and still trying to be the best mom you can be. Yeah, the challenges will be there, but you can navigate through and maintain a sober life. I want to thank you so much for listening today. And remember, you are amazing. No wine needed. Don't forget to check the show notes for more information on Michelle Beadles, independent consultant with Scentsy, so you too can get addicted to a beautiful smelling home.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Remember, if you are battling an addiction, reach out for help and support. There are many resources available to assist in your journey towards recovery. Surround yourself with a supportive community and never give up on the path towards a healthier and happier life. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and joining me on this journey. As you heard, I'm always rambling. But seriously, Thank you for your support, and make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I can't wait to share more with you on the next episode. Until then, keep on rambling.
If you have found this podcast helpful and want to dive deeper into personal growth and self-improvement, be sure to head over to my website, jennadix.com. You'll find a wealth of resources there. There is a little less drugs, sex, and rock and roll these days, but whether you're interested in getting healthy, information on momming or parenting, or politics, jennadix.com has something for everyone. So, what are you waiting for? Head to jennadix.com today and start your journey towards personal growth and self-awareness. See you there.